welcome to the third episode of Did My Grandfather Make This? Today we are at the Bosworth Battlefield Visitor Centre, and then we're going to go on to Market Harborough to go have a look at major battles that happened in the UK historically where, well, nobody knows where they actually happened. So I've got my usual presenter Paisley with me. I've got my guest presenter Pekdak's come back again, and we also have extra special guest presenter Sunshine Bright, which obviously isn't her name, but we can't use it for legal reasons. Anyway, guys, Bosworth Battlefield. Do you think my grandfather... According to all the histories that we have, this is where the Battle of Bosworth was fought. There's just one slight problem. Nobody has actually found any evidence to suggest that a battle was fought here. It's literally just farmland. That's the thing. We know the Battle of Bosworth was fought near Bosworth. We know it was fought between Stoke Golding and Hinckley, and we know that the king was crowned on Ambion Hill. However, we have no idea where these places actually are. We just guess. Okay, this is brilliant. Dirk, perfect example. Do you think this is a coffin? Do you think so. Okay, do you think it is a coffin that they buried Richard III in after the Battle of Bosworth?
Yes.
Okay. My research team needs better funding because it's actually a watering trough.
I said that.
No, you said it was a coffin.
No, it's stone coffin. It says on there.
Yes.
Yes. It says stone coffin.
And that is two members of my dedicated team there, plus the extra special guest presenter, stood on Richard III's throne on the top of what is supposed to be Ambion Hill, but we're not really sure it's Ambion Hill. And also, I don't think Richard III would have actually dragged his coffin all the way out here. But again, it's one of the interesting things, really. Nobody knows what happened here or where anything happened. It's just here. Oh, and there's the fourth making an appearance, and then suddenly realising maybe he should or should not have been in video and walking straight across. Doing some research, obviously. This, I believe, is Ambion Hill, where I think, I'm not sure because my research team are rubbish. I'm going to fire them at the end of this video. There's some. I'm sure he got crowned here. Not. So what do you know about King Richard III? Weren't you doing him at school?
Yes, I'm learning about him in school actually.
Okay, let's see if you've got anything right. Go on.
So apparently, he is supposedly a bad king, and he wanted to kill his brothers just so he could take the throne. And that is also shown, which I've also learned at school, Machiavellian behaviour. I hope I said that correctly. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Where did he die?
I forgot where he died, but it was buried under a car park, and a few years back, people actually dug him up. I learned that at school too, yeah.
He died here?
Oh, did he?
He died at Bosworth, yeah. And then was taken to Leicester. And then his body was buried in a monastery, and then it became a car park.
Oh, that explains everything then.
I'm quite impressed. He actually got a copy of it, mostly. Naseby. One of the most important battles of the English Civil War happened here. On the 14th of June, 1645, the most important battle of the English Civil War was fought here. the Battle of Naseby? Or was it fought here, or was it fought near here? If you look around you, they don't actually know. They think it might have been fought here. They think it probably was fought here. But we've found nothing to actually suggest that it was fought here. So you've got one of the most important battles in making England the country that it became, defeating the king, the rule of the people coming in. We don't actually know where it was. We don't know where it happened. So, this is a battle of the map of Naseby. Well, off to a great start there. They've spelt Naseby wrong, but possibly what it was at the time. However, this map was made 2 years after the battle by somebody who wasn't there. And as you can see, it's not even really a map. It's like a picture of where they thought things would be and where they should be. Also love the spelling of 14th day of June. Absolutely brilliant. But also, yeah, no.
So we're saying this map isn't real, but what's also funny that I found on here, it says some details made up, which means it's definitely made up if this board says it's made up as well.
What does it say is made up?
Some details that could be on the map.
So Declan, do you think my grandfather made this?
Well, obviously not, because it's about 500 years after. So obviously not, you weirdo.
And also it's all made up, isn't it?
Yes, it's all made up.
It's all made up.
Silly.
We don't know.
So your grandfather obviously didn't make this.
Market Harbour, now that I've been abandoned by my research team and my documentation and videoing team. Did my grandfather make this? Yes, he did. Hi, so thanks for sitting through our third silly little video, our third episode. Because it's Christmas and because there's a lot of places that are shut, we can't go around doing the castles, so we thought we'd try doing something a bit different. Promise I will sit still at some point in one of these videos. So one of the things that's always interested me, that I always thought was very fascinating, is that a lot of really important battles that you have, especially in British history, nobody actually seems to know where they happened. You've got the whole area of, say, Bosworth battlefield, where they're sure Bosworth happened because they look at all the sources from the time. And when you actually look at the sources at the time, they mention Bosworth Field, they mention Stony Stanton, they mention it was fought near these 2 villages or 3 villages or what have you. But we're talking about something that happened over 500 years ago. I mean, villages change, villages grow, villages are made smaller. 500 years of farming, yes, that could be Ambion Hill because it's about the only hill there, but, well, as we don't actually know where Ambion Hill was, we don't have precise location or anything on a map to show us where it was, it probably isn't there anymore. It's probably not Ambion Hill. And when you start to look into where they've found evidence of battle taking place, a lot of the time it's been quite far away from where the actual battle took place. So we could almost say the Battle of Bosworth could have taken place anywhere from the outskirts of Hinckley all the way across to where the visitor centre is. We don't know, and one of the reasons we don't know is because at the time it wasn't necessarily considered that important a battle. Nowadays we know it was very important, and it was the end of the War of the Roses. But back then it wasn't. I don't think it was seen immediately as a very important battle. God, we've got a new king. But if you think for the people that were living in that time, oh look, we've got a new king. Oh look, we've got a new king. Oh look, we've got a new king. Oh, it's Tuesday. We must have a new king. It just wasn't particularly that important. And then when you look at, say, the learned people that were there, the ones you can rely upon, the men at arms, the knights, the ones that had an education, they've all got different viewpoints of what was important. The ride down the hill, the clash at the King's Well. We don't know what the well was, where the well was. There is a King's Well there, but whether it was the actual well or not is, well, completely up for debate, to be quite frank. And you've got hundreds of people that had a very limited view on the day of where the battle was for them. You look at any modern situation where you've got, say, people, 5 eyewitnesses to a robbery or something like that, and they all fixate on something different and they all remember it slightly differently. Multiply that by a few hundred or a few thousand. Multiply that by, if anyone bothered to ask the rank and file that fought and died there, the billmen, the hookmen, the archers, what have you, they're all illiterate, or mainly illiterate. They're not from round there. They don't know what's important here or there. They might know what's important in their own village, so they might think, oh, my village had a windmill, and I remember seeing a windmill there. But that's not really very helpful at all. So Bosworth, nobody knows. Well, we know it happened in this rough area, but that's about all we can really say for sure. Naseby's very similar. Again, it's quite an important battle. It's the end of the First English Civil War, but then you have the Second English Civil War afterwards. So yes, it's important to us now, and it was important a little while later, but there were so many battles being fought up and down that it wasn't that important. They're not properly chronicled. We're not talking about people like nowadays where they've got embedded war correspondents with GPS who can tell you exactly this battle was fought here. We didn't have that. We had poorly made maps. Most of the armies being people that were either illiterate or semi-literate, and you had propagandists. So, like Agincourt, Cressy, we few, we happy few, we band of brothers. But you actually look at the amount of soldiers that were fighting on both sides, the armies were fairly well balanced. It wasn't 7,000 versus 21,000 or 31,000. It was probably about 7 to 8,000 versus about 12 or 13,000. It's not. But when you win a battle, you've got to make it, oh, yes, and we were nearly ridden down, and we did this, and we did that, and oh, yes, look at us, look how good we were. Minimise the amount of men you reckon you had on your payroll, and maximise the highest amount that you think that your opponent had, and you come out as some old conquering heroic god king. It didn't really happen like that. A lot of the people that tell us where the battles happened as well were clergy, because they were supposed to be really clever and what have you. And with historical battles, it's more or less a guessing game. I can think of about 4 or 5 examples of historical battles where they can actually pinpoint, yes, it happened here, and even then you're like, more or less. More or less. You think it would get better. You think as we progress through time, so for example, let's say the Battle of Waterloo, which happened nowhere near Waterloo. And the landscape around the battle has changed a lot, other than a few bits and pieces here and there. We say, yes, well, we know where Waterloo was fought, but it wasn't fought anywhere near Waterloo. The Battle of Hastings, that didn't take place at Hastings, it probably actually took place at Battle. But for years we've just called it the Battle of Hastings, because I suppose calling it the Battle of Battle would seem a bit silly. The Battle of Trafalgar. Fought right off Cape... No, it wasn't fought off Cape Trafalgar. It was fought about 20-30 miles away from Cape Trafalgar. Nautical miles. My favourite one, though, I believe, I might be wrong, the glorious Battle of the 5th of June. Because it was actually fought on that date. And it was called that because nobody actually knew where the battle took place. They couldn't figure it out. But it just makes it more interesting, I suppose, because it means that everyone can have their own little ideas. And especially with history, unless you've got proper primary sources that say absolutely categorically this happened here, and then other primary sources that go, yes, we agree this happened here, and yes, we agree this happened here, and everything is exactly the same way it has been for hundreds of years, and nobody has changed it. They've not built any roads, they've not built any car parks. Richard buried under a car park, but it wasn't a car park in the 1500s. It was a friary. It was a church. Then it got knocked down, and they made a car park. It's kind of cool. I just love stuff like that. Everyone's like, oh no, it could not possibly be him that's the king under the car park. Oh look, it's him. 99% certain. 99% certain. There's always that room for doubt. Bit of wiggle room. But yeah. You gotta love British history. It's just so fascinating. And always open to interpretation. That's what I love about it. You can never be sure that everything's absolutely right, everything's absolutely wrong, and that everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. Anyway, sorry for this really long outro. Happy Christmas to everyone, and if you've stuck with us this far, we do have a special Christmas message coming up. Thanks to a lot of the guys on the Dad Hammer site and other people who have taken a look at our silly little family thing and just, yeah, to go from about 5 subs to 120, it doesn't seem like much. It really doesn't. But we're not doing this to become monetized. We're not doing this to become great YouTubers. We're doing it to share our love of history and our fun family outings with the rest of you guys. And yeah, in the modern day and age, you can still enjoy doing family things, so never forget that. Thanks, guys. Hope you all have a really, really good Christmas. And a very special message from all of us. Did my grandfather make this?
Thank you all for getting us past 120 subscribers.
Well, actually, thank you for getting us from like 5 subscribers to 120 subscribers plus.
It's pretty mad, yeah.
And also, from all of us here, and Vicky behind the camera, we wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
And a